If you've been learning data analytics for a while now, you must have noticed something. Every year, a new tool come into the picture. Okay, so first it was Learn SQL, then it was Learn Tableau or Power BI, then it was Learn Python, then now it is AI. You have to learn how to use AI to become a good data analyst. And the thing is that you get to notice that it's as if once you finally learn one tool, then another one suddenly comes into the picture. Like there's always a new tool for you to keep on learning. And for new data analysts, they usually fall into this trap of wanting to learn this new tool all over again. They don't get to realize that there's always going to be one new tool for you to learn or another, but the thinking aspect of data analysis never changes. So in this video, I'll be explaining to you the core data analytic skills that you have to learn to become a great data analyst, and this skill is the most important, much more better than learning any data analytical tool that you can ever think of. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is the Medidata Perspective channel, and if you've been following me for a while now, then you know that I'm a registered nurse who transitioned a career path into becoming a healthcare data analyst. And all I do in this YouTube channel is I just discuss everything relating to data, okay? If you go through this YouTube channel, you'll see there are various playlists that are dedicated to analyzing healthcare data. All right. So if you're interested in learning how to analyze healthcare data, then I would advise you that you are in the right space. Just take your time and go through the various playlists in this YouTube channel, and I promise you, you are going to be hooked. Okay, so in our today's video, we'll be talking about the core or the most important skill that a data analyst is to learn to become a great data analyst. So if you want to know what that most important data analytical skill is, then please ensure to watch this video to the end. And also at the end of this video, I'll be giving a shout out to one of my YouTube subscribers. All right, so it can just be you. So I would encourage you to watch this video to the end. And also, if you are new in this YouTube space, then do ensure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, share to your friends and loved ones if you find the video useful or helpful. So without wasting time, let's dive right in. The first question is, why do data analytical tools keep changing? And the answer is very simple. It is because company wants faster insights, better automation, and also more powerful analysis. So naturally, these data analytical tools are going to keep changing in order to meet these companies' demands, right? So you can see that if you take a look at Tableau, if you take a look at Python, Python just helps to make it more automated and make the data analysis process faster, right? But now let's go back to the drawing board. What about the business problem? Are they evolving? If you take a look at the business problem, you'll find out that the problem these businesses have been facing over time still remains the same. Okay? Companies still need answers to questions like why are sales going up or down? What's driving our customer behavior? Why are we losing revenue? They also want to find out how can we improve our operation. So you can see that the business problem has remained constant over time. And you can also see that these are business problems, not technically two problems, right? So you can use any data analytical tools to answer each of these questions that I have outlined. And that's what data analysis is all about, right? You being able to use your data analytical tool to offer solution to businesses. So it doesn't matter if you are using Power BI, Excel, Tableau. All we want is at the end of the day, you are being able to provide solution to the business problem. So this brings us to the question for the day. What is this core data analytical skill? Okay, the core data skill that every great data analyst needs to have is critical thinking, which is also known as analytical thinking. Analytical thinking means being able to break down complex problems, asking the right questions, interpreting patterns in data, and also being able to connect insights to decision making process. So for example, a stakeholder might say customer retention is dropping. Your data analytical tools such as Power BI or Tableau can be used to create a chart, right? But analytical thinking is what is going to drive us to ask questions like when did this drop in sales start? Which customer segment is leaving? Did something change in the pricing of that product? Or is it that a particular feature in that product changed? Or is it due to seasonal demand? Or is it just an unusual drop in sales? So you see, analytical thinking is going to make you ask questions beyond just the basic, just the mere question in front, which is our customer, a particular customer segment is dropping. Okay, you can see there are a whole lot of questions you are going to ask due to analytical thinking. But if as a data analyst you don't have this critical thinking, you are just going to go straight forward to opening your data analytical tools such as Tableau or Power BI and start creating a dashboard or start creating a chart. Okay. So you can see that tools help you to explore the data, but critical thinking help you to understand the data. So now let's discuss this. Why can tool focus learning be misleading? Like, why can you focusing your energy in learning data analytical tool instead of learning the process of analyzing data can be misleading? For beginners, most beginners usually fall into this trap. They feel that if they can learn more data analytical tool, they can become better data analysts. So you see them learning Excel, learning Tableau, learning Power BI, learning SQL, like they want to get knowledge of all the data analytical tool, and they find themselves that they end up going round in circles because you are still going to struggle as a data analyst if you don't know how to ask the right questions. So in real life, when you're analyzing a data, as a data analyst, you're going to spend more time in understanding the business problem, in cleaning the messy data, in interpreting results, and also communicating findings. So you can see that you making use of the data analytical tool is important, but it's just only part of the process. The most important part has to do with you understanding the business data, asking the right question, cleaning your data set, and also communicating these findings to your business owner. So even if you are using Excel, Tableau, Power BI, or Python, you are still going to do carry out this various process. So it does not really matter the data analytical tool you are using or not. So here's the interesting part. Once you can develop a strong analytical thinking process, then you can learn any data analytical tool because all these tools they are basically doing the same thing. They can query data, transform data, and visualize data, right? Excel, Tableau, Power BI, Python programming language, these various data analytical tools, they can all do similar things. So once you can understand the logic behind analysis, then you can make use of any data analytical tool to carry out these tasks. So you can see that why most experienced data analysts is very easy for them to catch up with using any data analytical tool is because they already understand this process. So they are not just learning a new software, but they are applying their thinking frameworks. So as a newbie data analyst, as a person who is new to data analysis, how can you develop your analytical thinking skills? You can do that by asking better questions, okay? So try to, instead of asking, what does this data show? You can go ahead and ask, what problem am I trying to solve? So if you can have a better understanding of the problem you're trying to provide solution to, then you're on the right track. Then another thing you can do is learn to explore your data curiously. So don't just focus on the problem you're trying to solve, but go ahead and explore your data set and see what your data set is all about. Look at the trends, your outliers, any unexpected patterns within your data set because you need to know that a single outlier in your data set can tend to influence your insights you are going to get from your data. So if you don't take note of those outliers, then even when you're on the right track, you can end up giving false information due to this outlier. So you need to explore your data set curiously. And the last but not the least is connecting your data to your decision making process. Okay, so always think about what action should this insight lead to. Now you've explored your data, you've gotten insight. Okay, so what should be the next step? What action should my insight which I've gotten from my data set lead to? What action should the business owner take from this insight? All right, you should know that this is what businesses care about. They don't just want to get insight from the data set, but they want this insight they are getting from the data set help them in making their next decision. So you should know that tools are going to change. There's always going to be one new data analytical tool that will be out there for you to learn. In fact, what I usually tell people that come to me that say, "Oh, I want to learn how to become a data analyst," I usually tell them is focus on one data analytical tool, because you can easily get lost when you are trying to learn all the data analytical tool. If you want to learn Excel, focus on Excel. If you want to learn Power BI, focus on Power BI and be a guru in Power BI. If you feel it is Tableau, focus on Tableau. Okay, so focus on one data analytical tool and make sure you learn how to use that data analytical tool to analyze data sets. Then you can now move on to learning other data analytical tool if you so want to do that. But you should always know that you can always use that data analytical tool to answer any question of your choice, any business question you want to answer. So it doesn't depend if it is Power BI, if it is Tableau, or if it is Excel. At the end of the day, is can you get insights for the business owner or for the stakeholders with the tool you are using, and which is yes. So new technologies is always going to appear, but the ability to ask smart questions as a data analyst, interpret your data correctly, and connect insights to your decision-making process, that skill is always going to be very valuable. So as a data analyst, you have to have good critical thinking skill, okay? Because that is the real core skill of a data analyst. So if you are learning data analysis right now, then don't stress yourself about learning all the data analytical tools. Focus on developing your critical thinking or your analytical thinking skills, because tools will evolve, but good thinking skills never go out of style. All right. So if you find this video helpful, then don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and share this video to anybody you know is interested in analyzing data. And also drop in the comment section what data analytical tool you are currently learning. See Excel, Tableau, Power BI. I want to know. Okay, just go ahead and drop those comments in the comment section. And this week shout outs go to Assam 1494. Thank you for your comments and your questions on my videos. They technically keep me going. So please don't forget to comment, ask your questions. I would be there to answer each and every one of your questions. So with that being said, bye for now and see you in my next video.